Didn't want to just keep doing what I like a record player, you know, and around and around. I needed to do something is a really weird yourself when it's your dream. Like I'm doing and all of a sudden, but wait,
As it turns more for Robin Schwartz, Robin spent more than 20 years TV news reporter, the one asking the question, turn the tables on her. Her dream job to episode 33 with Robin Schwartz comes.
The primary purpose is to inform, entertain, and information, opinions, and in this podcast series or other professional advice of any kind.
Back to Power Forward. Mateen Cleaves. Mateen.
Oh, Judd, I am flying
high. That's. So this episode, pretty excited. This is actually take two for guest. So originally was, of course, before everything shut down. Life as we know it changed. So we figured, fresh. We're going to start over. We're pleased to be joined Schwartz. She is the Robin Schwartz PR based woman-owned video production firm. Welcome back to Power 4.
It's great to see you from last time.
Yeah, a studio the first time around. It was a good conversation, just talking about the fact, especially now, it would seem to not bring up what we've all been living through. The fact that, like you are all kind of in our own the world, we're all separate. It's before we dive into that, because it affected everybody. I know it's affected. So we're going to ask you about, for starters here, out there, a little bit about you.
Well, I have a TV news background. I spent 23 years, 17 of those years of Ron Savage, the late Ron, and also covered just about every Detroit from 1998, and that was really my life. I made a decision to take my direction, and I made yet another career and started, which is what brings us to today.
Wow.
The parallels are that you were a long time. I worked in years. Mateen worked in television. We're just three old teams just chopping it up on our podcast. Back and you spent 20 working as a television. All those big stories. What are the things that this day about all those experiences?
Well, I mean, the people, that I, very different people, and you're meeting people in their life, talking to them during a crisis, a family tragedy, that really on you what I remember the most about, and then, just the obstacles in that fast paced and your stories doing, if the news comes on at 5:00, you've got to be, everything is by the minute. So I live and, ground, for efficient, for storytelling, their TV newscast to be wishy-washy. And so training ground for me, I think, and that there's more than one stage for TV news is one. So is working or owning your own business is another. I don't really feel like I'm doing anything other than I-75 report. I'm still the same storytelling. So the people that I interview, part of all of them.
Wow. And Robin, let me some people, for me, professional basketball player, that's what I wanted to pursue. I actually did it. For always a dream for you when you were.
That was my dream. Years old when I visited a television station broadcast, and 15-year-old self. Because I have I'm able to see how young I am. Gosh, I was only 3 years old, when I made this decision. I just saw it, knew that was what I wanted. That was definitely a dream. As you, I'm sure, know, professional basketball player, people tell you how competitive it is, how you have no percent chance. And it's true when you start telling you're going to be a newscaster, them, they don't know it. And so, I was very say, oh, that falls through. My answer always was, this is what I'm doing. All those same people introduced me like, oh, this is the news. I always knew you know what I mean? But people reflect their own when they say things like that. If you're just have a goal and stop you from pursuing that goal, from your own experience. And
when you don't have, quote unquote, mentality that you had, right? Your chips to the middle of the table going after it, because then it's a hard road. At least you kind of know where you're, I would think, and like you said, some people, or not, you could do it, very clear idea of what you wanted to do.
As a teenager, you just don't know anything, right? We really don't know anything. In my mind that this is something and there was no I wanted to do. Work out because that's the only plan.
I didn't have a plan B. When we get there, thinking about plan B, okay, because you made people are ambitious to a certain level. peaches and cream. Now, it sounds easy and that there were some tough things as you were trying to always dreamed of.
We always tell like interns, college students who porters, they're meetings into your career and they don't get, nervous all the time. And I attack, just before I have to breathe. In the studio with nervous about politics. I didn't know the local politics and I don't know, some questions left. I had absolutely no idea asking the same questions because I was probably 23, pronounce people's names on error. And every night, every weekend, so weird after getting actually be home on a holiday. What that was like what do not at work? I didn't know. All
right. So you led me to you have this in a major market and then you decide that what to make that decision to chapter in passion, because that's what a job or a career, Robin, this passion behind.
And woke up one day and was like, it was about 5 to 6 years. I looked at my age. I was working weekends. What other, if I stay right here, I just didn't see the math just didn't add. I didn't want to just keep doing what I like a record player, and around and around. I needed to do something. It is a really weird thing when you're your dream, like I'm doing my all of a sudden, but wait, and I think of myself, but I never knew start my own, I just didn't know, corporate PR job was a change from what I had. It was that was camp training ground kind of situation, right? You're there, now you got to do the job. It was an amazing, led me to where I am. I mean, the whole reason. It said that there's more to do.
Robin, that is because I've always looked at it and my thing is the game. It's time for me to do something else. The game, want to give it everything. And for you, go through that. For you, I just don't have the same. Was that what it was?
I don't want to say a hard thing. It's like you don't thing that you love. Mm-hmm. There'd be a part of me that loves it. I changed the business and I got into it in the Facebook or dreamed of doing an interview like. So the business also changed. Child, and older, my priority. And, once 700th flood, same, I into what I did, whether passionate about it at that moment versus the first, for me to do, and that I had everything that I could do in the confines of that, inside that TV, done all I could do.
You want to jump in, but let me correct. Didn't lose the love. Felt the game didn't love the same that it always had. Made that change.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because what I realize that you are decisions. Some maybe you're so maybe they want because of your skills, right? You start to see things from a different perspective. The longer you're around, perspective changes. You can't unsee it. I started to look for else can I use these skills. I know there's some.
And go ahead, Robin, go ahead.
Sorry, no, change in technology, which is not something 1991 to do the math. The way that tech changed the possibilities, right? So doing today, I never could have dreamed as the technology simply, when I realized more viewers on them world versus how many people TV station wasn't available when I started. So
so discuss now to your just to start your own business in PR. Start your own PR firm. What of making the leap to that is going to be what business you're in. How did you kind of draw for how you were going to not only start, actually do well?
I wish I had like a little black, I had no clue. No clue what I was doing. I knew what I wanted to do. Other people had done announcements of how to do it. I started I opened up a bank account, and then my next, how do I get some fate? Luck. I received from somebody who had, and I met with her name is Mama Shu, telling her story. And it was an experiment, but it was almost like we do, I just kind of project, which is Avalon Village, before I knew it. I mean, I was on the Ellen show, People magazine. I picked up and just started crying. Her story was there. That story get there. Like, okay, I can do this. I had no contacts at People magazine, and passion. And as a reporter, I know a good story where I look, I see stories. It's just, that's just, and so I know when I just knew that Mama Tell and I think as far as you can take. So,
just to repeat here, this is your very first client, your own business? It's like landing the first time you ever throw a line in the water. I mean, whether it's fate or whether it's lining. I mean, that is.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, Mama, she's magical, right? Magic at work. Well, something, and when we came to do something very positive. And then what happened, saw the Mama Shoe story, and then they started coming, looking for the same type of telling. And to do this, I wish I had been, oh, wow, human interest, people triumph over trust. Like, that's what I need to look for. Just that unveil through this process. I think sometimes you just have to try something. I was extremely lucky. Years that I had money saved up, had given myself to try this. No idea, if it was going to, again, be a situation. News, and I didn't want to work. What else is there to hire? So I had to take that shot on my own and see. And, fortunately, it's gone really well. Some truly amazing people like me. And we just love what we do.
I want to be on the Ellen show or the come on. Like.
That's a very special, unique, that can't be every story. Yeah. So anyway, that's just it's a beginner's luck, hitting a home run your first time.
Luck is with preparation, even luck. So I asked you this because you said they make it all about the money, the opportunities. So I play with the music and like that. And I think I've seen opportunities because I'm paying enough for it.
Right.
Can you kind of, you were a little.
Yeah. The money, but I did a lot, honestly. She had a very small budget. She's not a dollar corporation budget because she had something incredible story to tell, and that's all I had time. And that's why, again, I was okay. I could, so I had to try something like that with, and the money. But if I had said, "Oh, I'm $1 million," well, then that never would have happened. Other things, and then the way that they did. So to this day, a lot of things, for left field with you, but I did it about.
Give us the real insight, reporter. You're used now to give us what is it like? Because it sounds great. You can make your own schedule. You can choose what projects you want to work. But there's also comes with that when you're in business. It's what it's really like a small business owner.
Well, 7. I do. If I have a big, not unusual that I'll be every day. For it gets done. The reason for that is because to work. You need uninterrupted to focus on the work that goes uninterrupted hours. I get text emails. The only where I have that just complete my work is between midnight and morning. There's a lot. I want to go to sleep. I'd love to go in the backyard or something because I have to do what I do. It's a huge responsibility. Almost harder once going at nothing, right? It's a win because I'm here. And anything is a win. But then into it, you start to build your number of clients. You don't want to go back. It's even more. Then your situation, like how we got to grow. And then, if you have how are you going to top that? And your capacity to diminish people, you can't do it. And, I had to learn all the time. So, I was really a coach type person growing businesses. Things he said to me, all these blog posts, go out and you got to go. If you cite all day, new clients. I had to give up a little bit to do because I love to write people opportunities to go out and share. Who else needs? It's very challenging, but I have a wording thing that I've ever done. I love it. Anything else I've ever done. It's special because you're doing it for.
I'm super big on it. And I know just get promoted that just start to be hands-on with everything. Make sure it's okay. Now for you to feel comfortable with other people, because I look at delegate win-win. It takes things off yours, whoever you're delegating. When did you get to that you felt free and felt things to people?
Well, things led to that right? Like there's so, and now I run the risk of missing it, do this and that, and then get all at the same time. And so there was that need coupled with, her name is Holly. She is also a newspaper who had a double skill set. Finding someone who is better writer that gave me the faith and trust to and run with it. And just not being able to be. And I could handle this. But it grew. Interns who have been amazing. I work with some really in a great video, and I could send them out without some of the stuff we need, and it's great. So I have to build that trust. That trust is giving it a chance.
So you said, Keller, that's your thing. For what makes a great story?
I'm very focused triumph over tragedy, right? Element of success, overcoming I think that makes a great story, to evoke emotion. So I don't want to say I specialize in, but if you feel something, then that's the story really came through, when I met them. I think that's in a powerful story.
People cry, huh?
Yeah, go to her website. You've been there. You watched some of those.
Trust me, and I'm a crying, but those stories, where it hurts, man.
It's less about making people cry. It's more about making.
Right.
And so, it could be frustration, in a lot of tears, or it aren't even tears of joy, but sometimes they're tears of happy for the person, or something like that. I just don't think it's just all sad.
I'm glad you cleared that up to come across.
Yes,
like
they're not just the sad stuff. And I want to ask you also of having a network, talking to, going back to when you were trying TV, you be new, probably serves you well to your business development and like your clients, for entrepreneur your own business, the importance of having those connections.
Yeah. Experiences to share what you know. And when I was trying to make this to PR, I met in Southeast. To their credit, they were all with me and to share, their stories. And there's a lot to learn from this. Busy following one path, we're here or over the. So I think networking is extremely. If you want to make a career, want to advance in find that person that has that job, they'll tell you. People love to talk about 30 minutes and ask about role need to do to a role like yours. Literally the question that I asked people that I sat down with. I also asked those people what else for me to speak to, because I don't know everybody and maybe they know somebody. So, that's just kind of works. But I think that, I open up a lot of doors because I'm a stranger, but also people inquiring about, they interact with the media. It wasn't strange for email or call and say, would find in any field that people down and have a conversation.
And you talked about networking, and I think it's something super important if you're being a good person. Listeners that's listening, well, I could just be good at my job enough, and I'm job. But can you talk a little, not burning bridges? It's very, when you're trying to network with us.
And I think that's extremely important, being genuine and sincere about yourself. Asking people, how can I help you? I think that as well. So I don't know if that answers your question. It's more than just being a star basketball player. People, you have to have and you have to make a positive difference. Being
naturally curious reporters are information from people. Business now, you're selling your company, you're selling the offer. So how much of you asking or interview do you find yourself using now new clients for your PR business?
All the time. Those are the get to them. It's because you can't get in front of people, and so Zoom calls and meeting people in person. So, and he's trying to, figure out what his own business is and forward. I know a lot of business, 100% virtual than in person. So, that post, but I'm figuring that out. So this is just get into virtual things. As of March, I'll record an interview on, and now that's doing this on a daily basis. Couple interviews later. So if any of that answers your question, able to pivot and try to meet those, in the needs that I'm being filled now for exist 3 months ago.
Did you, so clear here. And so our listeners, kind of is with, or what you guys do interviews like you said, go into quarantine, the table. Show yourself at that point. Did you survive that?
1 to 2 minute, but then, through these things, right? And I was like, this is 2020. There are ways to phone. I didn't there's no ever lived in, there's God and extremely talented and editors who are big about, footage. And I said to them, footage, right? That's what we're fancy cameras on ice, because this is what we need to do. And, out as they go. I say that TV news people were doing still out in the field, can do an in-person 6 feet apart and wear masks. It's just sort of like trying to, but completely differently. 100 and however.
Wow. And you know what you said, I love it. And I'm glad it just shows you our listeners, you're not going to go your way off and keep going. forward, and I'm glad it happens, right? It was 1 or 2 minutes, not 1 or 2 months.
And you know what that was? I can't believe her only to have this thing, like great. I mean, it did out how to work around it. I think that's what successful are working around it. I know, a psychiatrist instantly became an all, and they had never done that before. A lot of the nonprofit and started doing things differently. The downtown boxing gym becoming an emergency service. That's not even what they do. And they knew people need. So, they started thinking that they had. I've never lived through it. That's what you need to do in a crisis.
Adaptability. That's for me. And you said, being able to, obviously now 19 still being a major times, but in the Robin, just as a business, how important is it to be able to pivot and kind of just not be so set in your ways and way? How much value do you think there is in that for owners out there?
I think it's essential. It's an essential ingredient, successful business. Honestly, I think that goes back to the TV news, back to do a story on a given number of things can go wrong throughout the story is 5 o'clock. No broke. Nobody cares that it's suddenly available. Took an extra 20 minutes because there was traffic. Story. So work with whatever moment and learning to do that on a daily basis. Me and other businesses that
Listeners, I hope nobody cares in a bad relationship. No position you raise your hands, find the one. Thank you, Robin.
I mean, it's true, right? I don't know if I'm saying it.
They need to hear it.
A lot of personal things. When I was in news, went through a huge struggle with injury about, and that was and on Easter Sunday, I think 3, that 5% chance of ever having. And I recall in the morning, and 6 o'clock news that night. The holiday, feeling sick or stay home because everybody was out, so I'm not going to mess up somebody else's holiday. And I got through the newscast. And the people that you see on the news getting through their own thing, family members who are sick or struggling, you got to put that aside and just do your job.
Or if you're giving a presentation, I mean, everybody, right? No life has, there's nothing at all wrong. And it comes down to, you're just talking about infertility, and thank you for us. Having the go out there and do your job to the best of your ability, and to the side, and also mentally, you now have a daughter. I told you that less than 5%, you've got a daughter. So
story, but yeah, I mean that was about defying the but I didn't. And they didn't say 0, so I still believe and figured defy the odds, and it was my idea that worked. It's all up online, but I had been that. Fertility, and they were giving me, smaller. I don't know anything or dosage. Hit me one day, that to like 200 is not enough. I was willing to try it, and it worked. I don't know where that came from. But it worked, and I mean, I'm for that.
Amazing.
Now the miracle from school and now she's a preteen. Things interesting as well.
Yes, it is right now, especially Robin cooped up inside her. Robin, you look back on the story to where what are the ways? Tell someone out there who's in business or willing to take a similar leap that you do your own business. What are that you would offer up to somebody else?
Don't believe the lies, because you will talk yourself to things by believing them. I had a million. If I leave TV, my favorite videographer anymore. If I leave to same salary again, because I'll never win another Emmy. Things that you tell yourself that, and I think that we all for ourselves false beliefs. It's really hard not we tell ourselves. I think that's what I have learned through this journey. None of that, and I wholeheartedly believe about it or feared it. Maybe those. If you're trying to pursue something, to put those fears aside forward anyway.
And then I'm glad you people the process. I'm a sports background, like trophies. I'm chasing trophies. I'm old now, and the best that was the experience that I was able to meet. So I'm just speaking to listeners and hey man, and me hold on to good relate that because I chased trophies, but it wasn't. Now I'm older. Relationships that I were able to make with me than those trophies.
Yeah, it's fun. One of the people of COVID-19, is somebody I met in my very first, and we've lived in these years, she's thing, but we've stayed friends. She happens to be, one of the top trainers, and, to stay in shape and be like her, a coach, me 7,000 hours, and that is not healthy. So, this whole thing about not being gyms and, able to do, it's that thing, but it's that relationship. I don't know, I don't know how many years ago it was, making such a profit today. All those years ago, I never would have thought, that. So it is just, people come, but, you just never know what they might make. It's
absolutely your business. Like you said, you're still doing your thing, but, and that's what's most important. I got to ask you that we didn't, for you, what's the level of woman business owner? Young women out there want to do what you're doing. Boss, open their own company. What kind of pet, Robin?
I mean, evangelistic, just women are, I think, women power. It's no coincidence. Mashu is something I'm extremely proud of, that, women can do anything. I honestly believe that. Well, women doing, there's absolutely.
I like that. I was raised by it. I'm so excited you talk about that. I love it.
And I know that your daughter, despite some of those head-to-head disagreements teenagers will have, I'm sure that she looks up to you, and you're a great. So kudos to you. Thank you so much for joining us. It was to have you on about your story, and COVID-19 came and was up on us, but I think it was this conversation now, the landscape that we're living in, but being true to your roots, and that's great to see.
Thanks. Thank you so much. I hope anything that
we appreciate. Of Robin Schwartz, here we go. You got to tell the people, because I know Mateen's a big fan, so they can see some of your work.
Schwartz PR. You'll find my website there, our YouTube channels, and this is where you can find me on social.
Not just stories that occur. You got some feel-good stories, a little bit of everything. We all
triumph over, which is all of ours.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you so much.
To make sure you know forward, subscribe and leave us a review. Another new episode coming featuring more in success. I'm next time on Power Forward.